No sailing. There's sharks out there, and my wife's cheating on me. Welcome back to another episode of Video Rentals here on Napalm and OJ, the series where I watch mostly classic movies for the very first time, double feature. And with the Jaws 50th anniversary coming up and it being summertime, I figured there's no better time to do a Jaws special because I've never seen any of the Jaws sequels. I don't know anything about them except the fact that number 3 apparently takes place at SeaWorld, which is kind of why I'm doing this whole thing, because I find that concept very interesting. But other than that, I don't know anything about these movies, and I'm very excited to jump in and talk about them with you guys. And as I go, leave in the comments what your favorite Jaws movie sequel is. But anyway, without further ado, let's jump into these movies. Alright, so I just got done watching Jaws 2 for the very first time, released in 1978, directed by some guy whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce. And as I mentioned in the intro, I knew nothing about any of these sequels going in, so I was very surprised to flip it on and see Roy Schneider return for his role of the police chief Brody. And the synopsis for the movie says, Police Chief Brody must protect the citizens of Amity after a second monstrous shark begins terrorizing the waters. So it's not Bruce this time, it's Bruce's brother who's attacking people. This movie really focuses on the high school kids on this little island town. It really focuses on the boat culture within towns like this, which I found very, very interesting. Me personally, and probably a lot of you watching, did not grow up in an environment where possibly instead of a first car, you get a first boat when you turn 16 or however that works. I don't know. It was really cool to see the culture of these kids on this island and how everyone seemingly has their own boat. And that is just like an extracurricular activity that is very normal for them. And man, would I have loved to grow up in an environment like that where you have your own boat. I mean, it's probably their parents' boat. You get to go sailing in your free time after school and take chicks out on the ocean. Man, that would have been so cool to do. And the horniness does not stop with the high schoolers, because at the very beginning, they're opening some sort of hotel, I believe, and Brody is late. So he shows up and his wife gets a very weird and sexual kiss from, I watched the damn movie and I'm still not sure, is that guy like a real estate agent? Is it the wife's boss? Whoever the hell he is, I'm pretty sure he's sleeping with Brody's wife, but they never bring it up again, which is very strange. But there's definitely something going on there that is very odd. I don't know, maybe Brody's a cuck and we just don't find out. And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, because before that happens, the movie opens with these divers exploring a shipwreck and they have a underwater camera. Then they get attacked by a shark and the camera goes off several times during the attack, which will come into play later on in the story, sort of. So from the jump, we as the audience know that there is another shark roaming around, even though it's the ocean and sharks live in the ocean. So I don't know what these people expect. But anyway, the police find the camera. They can't find the divers, but they find their ship. They find the divers later. But Brody immediately thinks that it is a shark, and he's trying to warn everybody, and no one believes him. And a part of the reason they don't believe him is because they don't want to ruin the tourism of the town. They don't want to scare vacationers away. They don't want to cause panic and all of that, which is kind of understandable. And, maybe it was different back then, but you can't just go around killing sharks just because they attacked a person. Pretty sure there's laws against that, or that sharks are protected, or I don't know. I'm not a marine biologist. But the point is, Brody's got some trauma, obviously, from what happened in the previous movie. And no one believing him is freaking him out just as much as the shark. He's got some real PTSD going on here. Because there's a scene in this movie where he thinks he sees a shark. And his wife's probably cheating on him because he is spending a lot of time up in the shark watchtower, just with binoculars looking out for sharks. Or any sign of any marine life, really. So he thinks he sees a shark. So he starts banging this bell around and yelling at the beachgoers to get the hell out of the water. He pulls out his damn pistol and is running through the crowd and shit, aiming it at everybody, like no gun awareness, no gun safety at all. Aims it like 3 feet from this little kid who's in the beach splashing around in the water. Fires shots, several shots. He empties his damn clip. Well, it's not a clip, it's a revolver, but whatever. Into the water, barely missing this little kid. Everyone's running around, freaking out, panicking, trying to get him to stop because he's really freaking out. And they're trying to tell him it's just a school of fish or whatever. It's not a shark. But he doesn't believe him. He doesn't listen. And of course, it does turn out to be a false alarm. The guy who's fucking his wife is just shaking his head like, man, I'm gonna get some good pussy tonight, boys. I should also say that before this happened, an orca whale got tossed up onto the shore with a huge bite out of it from a shark. And this marine biologist lady who's examining it doesn't know for sure if it is a shark bite, but Brody's sure. And that's one of the reasons he's freaking out. But then finally, there is a solid shark attack where there's no denying it, because this couple, this high school couple, are out on their little sailboat, sailing around in the water, making out, having fun, whatever. And then their boat gets attacked by a shark. The shark. The boyfriend falls in the water. Girlfriend's freaking out. And she's like, Ed, swim, swim, you can make it. And then he gets gobbled up. Great scene. I loved it. She's left traumatized in the boat. The police, Brody, and those guys find her. And then she's like, shark. Chia. But somehow they still don't believe him. Or maybe that's where they start to kind of believe him. I can't remember the exact order of events. But at some point, they get those photos developed from the opening of the movie from those scuba divers that got attacked. And even we, the audience, can't tell if it's a damn shark or not. But Brody claims that the photo depicts a close-up of a shark. He shows it to all the people running the town, including the guy fucking his wife, allegedly. And they don't see anything. They're like, what the hell is going on? And they decide, you know what, Brody, you're out of here. We can't do this anymore. We know you're really struggling with mental health shit. Well, they don't say that. They didn't know what mental health was back in the 70s. But, you know, they nix him. They fire him. So he goes back to his wife that's cheating on him, and he starts drinking heavy. But then one early morning, his high school son sneaks out, and the younger brother kind of blackmails him into taking him with him. He's like, I'll tell Dad that you're leaving early, because the dad's like, no sailing, there's sharks out there, and my wife's cheating on me. I gotta have some sanity knowing that you guys are okay. Come on. So they sneak out with the other high schoolers. They're all out sailing or whatever. Then they get attacked by a shark. And they get stranded somehow. I guess their sails didn't work anymore. I don't even think their boats had motors. But they get stranded out there. But I can't remember how it happened, but somehow they get almost rescued by a helicopter that finds them, a police helicopter, that lands in the water. They throw a line out to the helicopter, tie it onto the boat or whatever, and then, you know, he's going to fly and then, you know, tow them back to shore. And I was not sure this was going to happen, but it does. The helicopter gets attacked by a damn shark. I keep saying that as if it's a different shark. It's the same shark who apparently hates humans, even though sharks don't work like that. But whatever, it's Jaws, you know. The shark leaps out of the water, grabs onto one of the little helicopter things, starts, you know, messing with it, thrashing around, and the whole helicopter tips over, falls apart, sinks. I assume that pilot guy dies or whatever. Honestly, it was amazing. It was awesome. Some girl gets eaten by the shark right in front of the screaming little boy, Brody's younger son, which is hilarious. Can't remember if that was before or after the helicopter thing, but whatever. There's also this one girl, I think her name's Jackie or Jacqueline or something. She is just freaking out the whole damn movie. She is screaming nonstop. Look, I'd be freaking out too, but she is like really going at it. It's just very, very hilarious. Every scene she's in too, to the point where one of the dudes almost feeds her to the shark. Like, that's how annoying she's being and how loud she's screaming constantly. But anyway, Brody, who's now jobless, drunk, and his, you know, marriage is falling apart because his wife's cheating on him again. He finds out that his son is like stranded out there, so he goes and steals a police boat with his former deputy, now the chief, who got promoted, and they go out there to try to rescue these kids while his wife goes and fucks the other guy, presumably. Actually, I think the wife went with, yeah, the wife was on the boat with him, but you know, she's gonna fuck him later eventually again. But long story short, drunk ass Brody ends up just speeding into this fucking rock formation right near where the kids are stranded. He gets stranded. He throws some hook thing in the water that pulls up some power line that goes to the island, I guess. He starts banging on it because apparently established earlier that sharks are attracted to loud noises like that or something. I don't even know if that's true. So the shark comes and he's going to attack Brody now because he was tormenting all those kids that are stranded or whatever. Because again, this shark hates humans. That totally happens in real life all the time. So the shark comes in full speed. He feeds him the electrical line thing. The shark gets totally lit up and fried. Somehow Brody manages to survive and not get electrocuted. I don't know. He's on a raft, I think. Maybe that's how he survived. I don't know. But it was awesome. I loved it. The end. They all have fried shark for dinner, and it's definitely not animal cruelty. And they all live happily ever after. So yeah, that movie was really fun, but I cannot wait to get to Jaws 3D because I heard that it takes place at SeaWorld, and I'm very interested. That's honestly kind of what made me want to do this entire sort of Jaws marathon that I'm doing in the first place. So let's go ahead and jump to that one now. All right, I just finished Jaws 3D, directed by Alves, something like that. The synopsis says a giant 35-foot shark. Is it really 35 feet? I mean, I guess it is. I don't know. Becomes trapped in a SeaWorld theme park, and it's up to the sons of Police Chief Brody to rescue everyone. And I had no clue going into this that Dennis Quaid was in the damn movie. I love Dennis Quaid. He's one of those actors that I grew up watching. He used to be in everything. He's from Texas. Shout out. But let me say, this movie overall was very disappointing, unfortunately. Like, the stuff that I wanted was a giant killer shark infiltrating SeaWorld and killing people and, you know, going into like the wave pool at the fucking theme park or some shit. I don't know. And we get a little bit of that towards the end, but it's only like maybe 10 minutes worth of movie. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed, but let's get into it. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? Because I do think it's still fun. So first off, I have no clue what anyone's actual job in this damn movie is because Dennis Quaid is like a glorified maintenance man, yet he never seems to be working on any maintenance. I don't understand exactly what his role within the park is. His girlfriend is like a marine biologist, but she's also the dolphin trainer. And then Dennis Quaid's brother, who's also Brody's son, Police Chief Brody from the first film and second, is coming into town to work under Brody at SeaWorld, but we don't see him do jack shit throughout the whole movie, besides flirting with the girl who's one of the like skier people for the big like ski show that they do for the audience. But I don't know. The whole premise is based on this is their grand opening sort of thing, even though I don't think they put enough emphasis on it being the grand opening. And despite the romance being kind of shoehorned in here, especially with the brother, I did still kind of feel like the connection that Dennis Quaid and his girlfriend, whatever her name is, I can't remember already, I do feel like there was a genuine connection there between those two characters and some chemistry. I bought into it a little bit. But anyway, then we've got the manager slash owner slash showrunner for the park or something. And then we've got kind of this villain guy that I don't know what the hell his role was. He's like a photographer, videographer who's from England, who's coming in to do I don't know what. Like he's filming and taking photos of most of the stuff happening, but he has an abnormally vast amount of scuba diving and underwater filming knowledge than he should for just a typical sort of news reporter person. There might be something I missed there. I don't know. These movies don't make a whole lot of sense in the end anyway, so there probably is a whole bunch of stuff that isn't spelled out or properly explained anyway. So one of the first deaths we get, or the first death, is this guy who works for SeaWorld is going underwater to chain up a gate that leads to the open ocean, I presume. It seems like he accomplishes it, but I guess it's too late because the shark is already in the SeaWorld lagoon that again attaches to the open ocean. He gets attacked. It's kind of like shot POV, so we don't really see the shark much. Then there's these two like burglar guys who sneak in at night a little bit later. Don't know exactly what their goal was. They mentioned something about getting money for coral that's found at the bottom of the lagoon. They get attacked. I don't think we ever really, I mean, obviously they're dead, but we don't really ever get a follow-up on those two. The small details in this movie are already escaping me, to be completely honest. Like, I can't remember how they find out there actually is a shark in the, oh yeah, okay, so Dennis Quaid and his girlfriend are like scuba diving and stuff, and then the shark kind of attacks them, I think, or something like that. So then, and probably what's the scariest scene in the whole movie, to me at least, is they go down at night into the water, and their plan is to sedate and tranquilize the shark while also leading it to the surface enough for Dennis Quaid to shoot a harpoon in it that's connected to a rope with a buoy, kind of like in the first movie. So that way when it's tranquilized, then they can know where it's at and then they capture it. And that English guy that I mentioned earlier, his idea for what to do about the shark initially, which I don't know who the hell would come up with this as a good idea, but this is back in the 80s. But his idea was to kill the shark on camera and release that to the public as like a public execution of an animal because he thinks that that would draw attention to the park in a positive way. I don't understand that fully, but again, it's the 80s. But the marine biologist lady, Dennis Quaid's girlfriend, convinces them that they need to capture the shark because it will be the first white shark in captivity. But let me tell you, from a little bit of research I've done, there's a reason that white sharks in particular are not able to be kept in captivity. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of that because I don't even fully understand it. But apparently that's something that can't really happen. But anyway, that's what they do. They capture it, they tranquilize it, and then it dies in captivity. And it's not very big. So the whole time I was like, this is kind of underwhelming and kind of anticlimactic because we're halfway through the movie and they already captured the damn shark. Well, there's a twist. That was the baby shark. Yeah, the big mama's still out there in the lagoon. And the whole time they captured the wrong shark. And then they're in the dining area that's underwater because I forgot to mention this SeaWorld has like an underwater dining area and these underwater like hallways that are glass so you can see out into the water that go from the surface to underwater or whatever. That comes into play here in a minute. But right when they're going to confront the owner in the restaurant that they captured the baby shark and that the mom is still out there, the really big shark, behind them comes the big shark. And man, this movie has the worst green screen I think I have ever seen in a movie. There's a scene earlier on in the movie where Dennis Quaid and his girlfriend are in this little submarine thing, and holy shit, it looks bad. If I can find a photo, I'll put it up. But again, it's the 80s, so you kind of got to forgive it. But holy shit, it was bad. So anyway, the big shark swims by the water in the dining area and then starts attacking the people in the tunnel, like ramming into the glass. So the glass starts breaking and leaking. And what does the SeaWorld operation people decide to do, and the manager? They decide to lock the doors to the tunnel so that the people are trapped in the underwater glass tunnel that's leaking, and they're like chest high in water, probably gonna die, as news outlets are like swarming to come in and like report on it, I guess. They even have their PR guy go out there and it's just like, yep, there's some people that are trapped underwater because the door's locked to prevent this or that. I don't know. He was just making shit up. Horrible, horrible PR move. But anyway. So Dennis Quaid and everyone else is like freaking out. So they run around the whole park, like screaming and yelling on a bullhorn for everyone to get the hell out of the water. And they're just causing a panic. And that's where we finally get that little bit of a bloodbath I was mentioning earlier as to what I really wanted out of this movie, where they have a bunch of like skiers and people doing jumps in the water that are a part of like the SeaWorld show, I guess, for the audience. Some of them finally get attacked by some sharks, or not sharks, the shark, the mama shark. I may not be telling this in the correct order, but you get the gist. So anyway, they decide to lure the shark with some bait into one of these air generator pump things or something underwater. It's basically just a big tunnel with a cage on it. So that English guy I keep mentioning lures the shark in there, and then, you know, what do you think's gonna happen? He gets eaten by the shark, and we do get some really cool shots from inside the shark's mouth as this guy gets swallowed up and chewed on by the shark. So I did appreciate that. That was really cool. The shark then starts roaring, like verbally, like an animal or a lion or something, which is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in a movie. The shark is able to back his way into the cage and ram through it with his tail, I guess, and escape again. So while Dennis Quaid and his girlfriend are welding and patching up the tunnel from the outside in the water, the shark comes after them now, but the dolphins that the girlfriend has been training, they come in and save the day. You gotta love dolphins. They help the humans get away by like allowing them to latch on to the dolphins and then swimming away fast or whatever. They make it back to the main control room, which is underwater, to I guess monitor the situation or something. I don't know. Then the shark comes head on in another one of the worst green screen shots I've ever seen. Rams through the glass. Everyone is all of a sudden underwater. One person apparently dies instantly just from the water coming into the control room. I don't get it. But anyway, that camera guy, I forgot to mention earlier, he had some grenades that he mentions if things get out of hand. He's just going to pull a grenade and throw it at the shark and it'll kill it or explode or whatever. Well, half of his dead body holding a grenade is in the shark's mouth. So Dennis Quaid takes like a piece of metal rod or something and like bends it to a hook, reaches in and is able to pull the pin on the grenade and get out of the way in time for the shark to then blow up, and then that's it. They go swimming with the dolphins and everyone's happy. Did I mention there's a side plot that Dennis Quaid got some job in Venezuela and he's going to have to move away from his girlfriend, and they're all sad about it because she's not sure if she wants to come, and then slowly she kind of changes her mind and wants to go with him, and all of that was unnecessary and kind of stupid, but I guess it builds character and whatever. I don't know. That's kind of besides the point. I don't know why I even brought that up. But yeah, it was definitely not the movie I thought it was going to be. I don't know why I thought it was going to be literally a shark tormenting guests for the entirety of the movie, which was kind of an unrealistic expectation for me to put on the film to begin with. But I don't know. I didn't know anything about this movie going in. That's what I wanted. You know, at least we got a little bit of that, you know. But it's definitely a step down from number 2, which is a step down from number 1. And I can only imagine Jaws the Revenge, the 4th one, probably a step down from that. But hey, isn't Michael Caine in that one? So I gotta check that out eventually. And I probably will soon, actually. But I don't know. There's not really much else to say about this one. The second one was a lot more fun, but this one was still fun, all right? It wasn't like a waste of time, that's for sure. But as always, let me know what you guys think about these movies. What's your favorite Jaws movie besides the first one? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.